Yes, thank you very much for joining us. We're very excited about this presentation, and I'm going to kick it back to Beth Butler, Executive Director of DisabilityIn North Carolina.
Thank you, Pat. I appreciate it. We are so excited to be here, and in the essence of preserving our power, I'm going to go ahead and turn my camera off during this presentation. But it is a fantastic exciting time for us. This has been a culmination of work through a grant that was provided to us by the North Carolina Council on Developmental Disabilities, the North Carolina Employment Collaborative. And so we are excited to share with you the highlights of a toolkit and a video that we have put together, and we'll share that with you today. But the purpose of this is really to bring you together and educate and inform you about how we can be more inclusive of people and job seekers with disabilities in the career centers. And so we are delighted to share with you some of the work that we have been doing. The North Carolina Employment Collaborative is an initiative that was started, again, as I said, through a grant funded by the North Carolina Council on Developmental Disabilities. And it was just really gave us an opportunity to bring together the stakeholders, including yourselves, representatives from the workforce development boards, from Department of Health and Human Services, the Department of Commerce, our partners across the state that are all focused on creating a centralized service system for job seekers through our career centers. Those job seekers include individuals with disabilities. And so here before you is a list of those collaborative partners. And as we introduce this toolkit and this video to you, just know that our goal here is to really heighten your awareness around the importance of creating cultures in our career centers across the state of North Carolina to be more inclusive of job seekers with disabilities. And so with that, I want to highlight some of our opportunities for today. Again, we are going to share with you the details of the toolkit. It is available to you, and we're going to walk you through how you can access that information. And really the kind of the meat behind that. In other words, what are the resources, and where did we come up with the resources that we're sharing with you through that toolkit? We also are going to share our video. We're very excited about the opportunity for you guys to really have this as a resource and a tool that you can use in a number of different ways, and we'll talk about that as well. And finally, again, just really want to hear from you at the end of our presentation this morning about how you plan to use that. What are some ideas that you have in how do we get this information out? Because at the end of the day, what we really want to do is encourage job seekers to disclose that they have a disability, to get the supports that they need in order to find employment, and that is going to really meet the needs of our communities and job seekers, again, that are with disabilities and need the accommodations that can be offered through the career centers. Next slide. And so when we think about the toolkit and its creation, you can go to our website at di-nc.org, but you'll notice that there are a number of different types of resources, and that is we didn't hit on every type of disability, but what we recognize is that there are a lot of resources available to you. However, they are very challenging to find. And so what we wanted to do is streamline this information, pull it all together into one location, and so that we can make that easy for you as career counselors, as business service reps, as you go through your day-to-day operations in the career centers, and you have an inquiry about a disability. Maybe you're interviewing or doing intake for an individual job seeker who discloses they have a disability. These resources can be easily accessible to you and give you initial information. Our goal is not to make you experts in this series of webinars, but it's simply to heighten your awareness around the importance of disability inclusion. So in addition, we will highlight the toolkit, as I said, and give you some information around the details of the topics that are included in that. And so at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Pat to talk you through exactly what's included in that toolkit. Pat?
Thank you, Beth. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're very excited to have this toolkit available for anybody to use at no cost, and all of the resources that we have sourced and placed in the toolkit on our website are free resources. So we made special care to not select out any resource that might charge for their use. So you're free to go and get them whenever you need them. You'll see to the right on your screen here is a screenshot of what it looks like on our website, so it should be easy to find under the Resources tab. You'll see the video is up there for you to view again, and you can download it from YouTube and use it. We're going to talk extensively about some ideas of using it. We also curated this toolkit to only focus on job seekers with disabilities. So there will not be articles on this toolkit that are around the disability topic with respect to education needs or medical terms or anything like that. It's only focused around the intersection of employment and job seekers with disabilities and the people that support them. We're going to share a lot of information with you in coming sessions around the ROI, or return on investment, to businesses that hire individuals with disabilities. And I think you're going to be quite impressed with that. And we want to make it clear that this toolkit and the video is available not just for folks at the NC Works Career Centers, but also for job seekers with disabilities, employers who are looking for ideas around diverse talent. We've got several great articles on this toolkit around supporting employees with neurodiversity, with all different talents that they can bring to the workforce. As well as we want this toolkit to be available for any organizations or state agencies that want to source from it. We did extensively pull out and partner with North Carolina Vocational Disabilities VR, and we also included articles and links to mental health services as well, sourcing and partnering with them deeply to create this toolkit. And I think, Beth, I'm going to finish up by talking about the actual topic areas. So the topic areas on the toolkit include employer resources, accessibility and accommodations, some specialized articles on the impact of job seeking on individuals with disabilities. And then we have large categories related to different types of disabilities. But again, those articles are only focused on employment and skills development and the impact of hiring individuals with disabilities and some of the accommodations you might encounter as you work with those job seekers. So Beth, it's your turn again. We're going to tee up this exciting video.
Great. Thanks, Pat. And so, the excitement around this video, and it has been launched, so some of you may have already seen it. We did do a debut of this during our fall conference in October in celebration of the National Disability Employment Awareness Month. But we really, the purpose behind this and the vision behind this video was how do we create something that could invite job seekers with disabilities to not only engage with their NC Works Career Centers, right, as they seek employment in our communities, but more importantly, I think how they will feel. What does that experience look like as they come into the Career Center? And yes, I know I'm suggesting that perhaps there's face-to-face interactions happening right now. I think at some point there will be, right? But the beauty of this is that it can also be shared virtually, right? So you will have a link to this video available to you. So as we stay virtual, you will have this as an opportunity, again, to share this video before job seekers that may have disclosed during their intake, as I said earlier, or maybe you're just using this as a tool to inform the employers that are coming to you seeking diverse talent, and ensuring that diverse talent includes job seekers with disabilities. So we are excited about that. The idea is to really grow your confidence and also, creating that culture that is welcoming. And you'll see in the video that it's an incredible picture of the collaboration that has taken place up to this point with, as I said, the various agencies, with the workforce development boards, with NC Commerce, Department of Health and Human Services, all of us working together to increase employment opportunities for North Carolinians with disabilities. And because the Career Centers play such a role in that, the leveraging of this video in your career centers and through the work that you do day to day is key. Next slide. And so with that, we are going to show the video.
Hello, I'm Beth Butler, Executive Director of DisabilityIn North Carolina. DisabilityIn North Carolina is a private, nonprofit membership organization empowering businesses across North Carolina to achieve disability, inclusion, and equality. This message was sponsored by the North Carolina Council on Developmental Disabilities.
Welcome to your NC Works Career Center. And the key word that I just said is your Career Center. Well, Workforce Centers, we're here to support people on their journey to a successful career. So some of the ways that we do that, we provide training scholarships, we provide career exploration, we provide help with resumes, work experience, and just whatever it takes to get a person from where they are to reaching their career goal. One of the first things we try to do when a person comes through the center is understand what those barriers are and help them to remove barriers.
North Carolina is an employment-first state, and roughly 2 years ago, Governor Cooper signed an executive order to that effect that recognizes the importance of people with disabilities to be part of the regular workforce, earning competitive wages, having every opportunity for a career. And our state right now is focused on the state as a model employer, meaning North Carolina as a state governing entity as one of the largest hiring entities in the state is interested to be really proactive and intentional in diversifying the workforce. We want to see people with disabilities have more opportunities to gain competitive employment, to have careers, to be more independent as a result of this, to have assets, all that comes with being employed. I really encourage you to ask and to seek out those resources. We're here to help.
Hi, my name's Jennifer Thomas. I'm with the Division of Workforce Solutions. In particular, we enjoy helping North Carolinians find jobs. That certainly includes North Carolinians with disabilities. Only about 33% of working-age Americans with disabilities participate in the workforce.
Employment impacts everybody. And NC Works Career Centers are a great resource for everybody in the community. Our initiative, North Carolina Employment Collaborative, works on just that. So we are hoping through systems change activities that there will be more partnership between agencies that work on employment services. We're talking about commerce, vocational rotation, community college, as well as our business leaders in the community. And therefore, in the end, people with IDT are going to benefit from that partnership. As a person that has a physical disability, I am well aware of the stigma, the challenges, the fear at times that you're not going to find what you're looking for, or maybe it's not going to be a good fit for you. But the biggest thing that I want to encourage people is to recognize your challenge as a strength and find the resources, the information that can help you find that fit, help you find that job you're looking for. See yourself as an asset to an organization out there that fits your goals, your skills, those intangible things that you in particular bring to a job. There's always somebody out there looking for what you have.
If just 1% of unemployed people with disabilities joined the U.S. labor force, the gross domestic product could get a boost of up to $25 billion.
The mission of DisabilityIn North Carolina is to empower companies for disability inclusion. Many of our companies are ranked some of the best places to work for disability inclusion in North Carolina. Employers want a source from all types of individuals, including people with disabilities, and they also want to hire people with disabilities because it's about inclusion of all types of individuals.
We want to ensure that all individuals with disabilities in North Carolina have access to their local NCWorks Career Centers. So we want to encourage all job seekers, including those with disabilities, to leverage the services and supports that are available to them through their local NCWorks Career Center.
Well, there are more than 700,000 working-age people with disabilities in North Carolina. And employers are looking for exactly the kind of skills and talents that they already have.
My name is Chris Hendricks, and I happen to have a condition called cerebral palsy. I am an entrepreneur, I'm an author, I am a professional recording artist, and I also happen to be a professional benefits counselor that works with multiple companies such as Aflac, Colonial, and others. For persons that might be looking to have a career who have conditions that might be visible, I would encourage them to remember that, like you, I have a condition that allows me to uniquely serve other people. Persons with conditions are just so capable. The word disability implies that we're lacking in something. And I don't remember a time in my life where I ever saw myself as missing anything or lacking anything. If anything, my condition has always made me more capable.
I am a person who lives with a disability and the limits it provides on a daily basis. Limits don't mean unable. They simply mean I have to try a little harder. I was born with a disability and in spite of that was able to run a small business for 16 years, and now I work for a large company and earn a great salary. Previously in life, I tried to hide the disability that I had. I was afraid to tell anyone and had some negative experiences when I did disclose to other people what my condition was. However, I've learned over time that the best thing I can do is to be upfront with people and to tell them in a brief way that I have a condition, I might need an accommodation, and if that comes up, I'll let you know. My advice to an employer would be to seek out candidates with a disability because they have already overcome so many obstacles in life. Simply to be here, that they're going to be an incredibly hard worker irrespective of anything else.
Hi, my name is Phillip Woodward. I am a system change manager at the North Carolina Council on Developmental Disabilities, also known as NCEC. I am hard of hearing, I read lips, I wear 2 hearing aids, and I know American Sign Language. So anyway, there are many benefits to hiring deaf and hard of hearing people. 10 to 20% of the population has a hearing loss of some type. And so if you understand your deaf and hard of hearing employees, you're going to be in a position to provide better customer service for people who are deaf and hard of hearing who are customers. Providing accommodation for your deaf and hard of hearing employees will help all of your employees.
My name is Jennifer Gray. I'm an attorney in Raleigh, and I am legally blind. I had been practicing law for over 13 years when I unexpectedly lost most of my vision due to a very rare eye condition. That was a very difficult adjustment period for me, but there are a lot of services available that have helped me gain skills to cope with that. I have been taking classes at the DSB Career and Training Center. They've taught me a lot of adaptive technology, including computer programs, screen readers, things that would help me get back into the workforce, and a lot of programs that I think would be reasonable accommodations. I would recommend that you get in contact with your local vocational rehabilitation office and see what services they suggest. For me personally, that was the Division of Services for the Blind, and I've been taking classes at the Career and Training Center there. I would encourage people to just not be afraid to ask for help. There's a lot of available resources out there. It may be hard to ask at first, but it's definitely worth it. I was interrupted in the middle of my career as an attorney, but I still have the same knowledge, the same skill set. I just have to learn how to do some things a different way, but the motivation is still there.
NC Works did help me out with my employment. Fortunately, I was able to reach out to Beth Butler, who gave me a few, phone numbers to call and a few resources to look up, jobs, and I was able to apply to a few jobs, and I got a few callbacks and was able to get an interview and was able to start working. Basically, told them that I did have dwarfism, and they, the person that interviewed me pretty much stated that that shouldn't be an issue. And once I interviewed, she was very accommodating, and I literally had everything I needed within a week of employment of being there. So they were very accommodating at Secure Care. So whatever makes you comfortable, just ask for help. Just don't be afraid to ask for help, because I wish someone would have told me that before, and I'm glad I reached out for help, and it's been working out.
I would say if you need an accommodation or help getting through this process, be sure and ask, because there are resources there to help you find employment.
If you're a job seeker with a disability, I encourage you to leverage your local NC Works Career Center. There are services and supports available to you. Whether it's accommodations or other supports, I encourage you to ask your NC Career Center staff for more information.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your attention to that video. We are excited to share that with you following today's training session. Again, you'll have access to that through our website at di-nc.org. And we want to talk for a few minutes now about where and how you can use that. Some suggested venues, right, for sharing this video. I know early on in this project, we did kind of a walkthrough of many of the career centers, and I know that there's often an orientation that happens when you have job seekers that are coming in, and perhaps that is now virtual. I would encourage you to incorporate this video into those regular processes that you have as you do intake for your job seekers. Maybe one, as we talked about, maybe a job seeker will disclose a disability at some point during the intake. And understanding that the vocational rehabilitation partners are incredibly valuable to the work that you guys do at the career centers every day. That will not change. The referrals to VR are absolutely available. And what we want to encourage you to understand, though, is that not all individual job seekers with disabilities have access to VR. They may not be eligible, or they simply may just choose to come through the Career Center as opposed to going through the VR center, or the VR services. And so again, this is an opportunity for you to create that culture that is welcoming and supportive of all job seekers. And finally, you have a number of interactions with employers on a day in, day out basis, right? Especially now, as employers are hot looking for talent, right? They are coming to the career centers because they need people. And we want you to be confident in sharing the opportunity to offer diverse talent to those employers that include job seekers with disabilities. So as you go into maybe it's career fairs, I know there's a lot of one-on-one relationships happening with employers. I know through Disability in North Carolina, we have a number of employers that are seeking talents that include individuals with disabilities. And so as you approach those employers, be sure to remember that diverse talent includes job seekers with disabilities. And so with that, we also wanted to talk to you for a moment about just the upcoming series of webinars as well. And I'm going to pause for a moment and see if Pat, do you have anything else to add? Okay.
If I may.
Yes.
We have a couple of questions here. Donna asks, when you say someone at the center, is that a matter of asking someone at the front desk for the video, or are there specific stuff that you need to ask?
And so if someone has a disability, is it okay if they have a visible disability, or if you're
no. So if someone wants to access the video
access
at the center, at the center, do they have to ask the front desk, or is there a specific staff person?
That's a great question. And you know what? As part of this work together, that's something for each of the career centers to figure out, which is why we're having the training today. This is not going to be a dictation of how you use that video. So if you want to use that, I think it's important for you to take this information back. My hope is that a lot of career center directors already have their hands on this video. I know it was sent out in October, but take that back and you know what? Open the conversation with your team at your career center and ask that question. How do we want to use this? If you have a front desk and a receptionist that's there that does proper intake, make sure they're aware of this video. I know that some have a TV monitor right in the waiting room. It may be that you decide to load that onto that television and it runs on a loop. I mean, you saw it. It's about 12 minutes, 11 to 12 minutes. So recognizing that as people are waiting to visit with their counselors, they could be watching this. So however you want to use that, and in fact, we would encourage you to come back and share with us the different ways that you have decided to use it and what's working and what's not. Because again, this work is about a team effort, and what works for you may work for another career center across the state. Again, orientation, if that is happening, maybe it's a virtual orientation, offering this as a tool, right, and as a resource as part of that orientation or that intake process would be a great way to implement this. But I'm certainly open to other ideas. Great question.
Beth, we also have several questions in the chat box. If you cannot see those, we can read them to you.
That would be fantastic.
All right, fantastic. This is Colette. I'm going to go back and just to make you aware, some individuals have noted that there are some links that are not correctly working on the website. So all I can say is we'll bring that to the presenter's attention post-session, and we can post a document with the recording on Train. So no worries there. There's also been a request for the video that was just played, and we will also share that information. It will be a part of the recorded session that will be posted to Train as well. And it should also, hopefully we'll be able to get that in the meeting chat this afternoon. So no worries there. Let me go back through some of the list. Let's see, mostly about the video. Here's one in particular, and you may want to speak to the language that someone could help direct someone coming into a local NC Works Career Center. So in the video, it said, when you say ask someone at your local NC Works Career Center, is that just a matter of asking someone at the front desk, or are there specific staff who are knowledgeable about the available resources and how best direct someone coming into the center?
Again, that's such a great question. And this is exactly the purpose of these trainings that you're attending today. And so this is the first in a series of 7, right? And our goal is to heighten your awareness around what those processes look like in each of your career centers. So if you have a local career center or you are working in a career center today, this training is designed to prompt you to go back and have those conversations and talk about the process. If someone requests an accommodation, for example, as they come in to experience the services that you have at your career center, what does that process look like? Right? Is that the receptionist? And so this is exactly why we're having these conversations, is to encourage you to open up the processes and the conversations, make those connections so that when a job seeker does come in, they have the tools that they need. That said, the toolkit and the video are available now to you as part of this effort, right? So you will be able to familiarize yourself with the resources and have something available to share with them as those job seekers come in and seek those supports. So again, I would reach back to your center directors and others to start this conversation. In the meantime, these webinars like this one, we have a cadence starting today, and we will be bringing you 6 additional webinars, some of which will talk just about that, the different types of accommodations, and specifically what is your role in this process as it relates to the cultural transformation that we want to see happen in these career centers. Great question.
Perfect. Thank you, Beth. I'm going to ask all attendees. I've scrolled back through the meeting chat, and I knew there were quite a few questions about the accessible links from the website. I'm going to go ahead and copy that website URL back into the chat now, but I did not see any other questions for our presenters. So I'll just take a moment to say if anyone has some follow-up questions that they've thought of, please go ahead and enter those into the chat box now. And Beth, I'm going to keep an eye because it always just takes a moment for anyone that has a question to enter those. So I will mention this. So we had a question that just came in, and someone said, I'm interested in having other staff attend. So will this series be an ongoing program in the future? I can just speak and Beth can elaborate. There are more sessions planned for the upcoming weeks. Those sessions are posted at www.ncworkforcetraining.com should you wish to register for those. And the beauty of today's session and the future ones and us recording that is that they will be available for anyone that has missed them today or any other staff that join in or hired on, or if they want to watch them in the future. Beth, do you want to elaborate on anything else?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And yes, we've got a number of presentations coming up. The topics are going to include the employment of people with disabilities, and overview and statistics. So that's where you're going to have, again, just some real hard percentages and numbers and details and data to take back to use in your conversations with employers and with your other team members. We've got the North Carolina Employment First and Disability Diversity. That's going to walk you through how we got here, right? Why is this top of mind now? Governor Cooper signed the Employment First Executive Order 92 back in 2018, or 19, I believe it was. And so that's charging all of the state departments here in North Carolina to be a model employer when it comes to hiring people with disabilities. So we're going to talk to you a little bit about that. Disability employment inclusion, the business case. Again, the return on investment, as Pat mentioned earlier, will walk us through why it is that businesses are really seeing a true value and a return on investment when hiring job seekers with disabilities. Diversity, equity, inclusion. We hear that a lot right now. What is your role in disability inclusion when we think about that work? We'll spend some time on that. Collaboration, again, collaboration and those partnerships, as we've mentioned today, with the North Carolina Department of Vocational Rehabilitation, the North Carolina Department of Services for the Blind, DHHS, the community college systems, as well as the mental health providers and other business partners, all have a role to play in our efforts to support job seekers with disabilities in our communities, to again transition them into employment in our communities. And then finally, the NC Works Career Centers of Inclusion and understanding the accommodation process. And so that will be where we'll kind of take a deeper dive into what an accommodation process might look like. What are the types of accommodations? There's a lot of misunderstanding about the expense associated with an accommodation. What are some things that you can do and be ready for that can be, again, create that welcoming environment for job seekers with disabilities in your career center. So we're excited. And again, a huge thanks to the team at the training center there, the NC Works Training Center with Robin and Jean Scott and her team. You guys have been fantastic, and we're looking forward to bringing these presentations to you in the coming weeks.
Fantastic. Thank you, Beth. There was a question that had come up a little bit about reaching out to businesses in the area, but I think you touched on that. That'll be somewhat discussed in one of the upcoming sessions. So we invite everyone to tune back in to these engaging sessions coming up, and please register. Let me see. One last question. All right, let's wrap up. This will be the final question that I see. And then Beth, once you answer that, if you want to do your little wrap up and then turn it back over to me, I can wrap up for today. So do you have plans to do all of these 7 courses live in the future, perhaps like a yearly program? Any discussion on that?
That's a great question. We have one of the things that we have committed to as it relates to the toolkit. I'm going to jump back there. That is going to be a living document as well, right? So those resources we have committed, even after this grant sunsets the end of February. This work will continue because it is important for us to ensure that that we have the best practices and the trends and updating that information for you through the toolkit. In terms of the webinars, they will continue to live on. Certainly they are being recorded, and we will make those available through our website. And I believe that you will have access to those as well, certainly after today's session. And we would love to, continue to provide these trainings and these resources. I am a people person, and I long for the day that we are all in one room again. I know that many of you, this is much more convenient, and it is. It really does meet a need for sure. But in the future, we hope to continue to bring this information to you.
Perfect. Thank you so very much. So I just want to wrap up for today. Beth, did you have any other closing comments?
I don't. I just, again, want to thank you all so much for your participation. Great questions. And we are just very, very excited to be at this point in our journey here with the NCWorks team to bring this information to you. You really are so critical, the role that you play in these career centers across our state in bringing resources and most importantly, connecting our North Carolinians with jobs. And again, that includes North Carolinians with disabilities. And so thank you for your time, and we look forward to continuing this partnership.